Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Tatiana's Coaching. I am Tatiana, your favorite life coach. And today we're going to dive into the story that might change how you view career and traditional ways of life that we're all so used to. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you had the opportunity to understand who you are, to research your talents, your skills, your likes and dislikes before actually going to college, selecting career, and then building family, buying a house? Most of us go to school, we go to college, then we get a job, we build career, we have family, we have kids, and then we have this success on the outside, but inside, a lot of us feel so miserable. This is when midlife crisis or existential crisis comes in because the success is only on the surface. I mean, how can we choose a career when we are 18? You know nothing about yourself. And today's guest cracked the code to actually having fulfilling success. She is representative of Generation Z, and I met quite a few people like her who have similar story. They're doing something new, something very different, something very not traditional, but in current environment, it actually makes so much sense and it leads to a much happier life. Please meet Montie, the woman who builds her life on her own terms. Montie, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're coming from, how old are you, and what did you study, and how you ended up in Australia?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Montie. I am 25 years old. I am originally from the Netherlands. And I came to Australia, I think around my adventure started 1.5 years ago. When I actually finished, when I graduated my bachelor. So I did a bachelor in hotel management. I did a deep dive in gastronomy, food science, and food service, which I absolutely adored. But I also knew that the desire to travel was always there. So I graduated. I did my last management internship at McDonald's headquarters in the Netherlands on the menu development team. So my job was basically inventing and tasting burgers, which is probably such a dream. And I think that I was really driving on that whole office and it was so good for so long, while being on my management internship. And then they couldn't offer me a permanent job there, because some internal budgets. And that was sort of the moment where I thought, okay, if I cannot stay here, I'm not going to dive into another job. I am going to pursue my dreams and start traveling. So that I did. Yeah.
When did your desire to travel appear? Was there a moment? Did you admire someone who travels? Why did you want to travel? Did you understand why you're so called to travel?
I don't think I really know where it came from in the first place. I think might have had something to do with the fact my grandmother, she's from Indonesia. And I remember the first faraway trip that I took was to Indonesia with my family. And I just loved all the new cultures and impressions and the way people lived, and even small little life lessons, just be happier with so much less. And yeah, that's sort of where my interest, I think, started. And then from Bali, I went to Thailand. From Thailand, I saw a bunch of other things. And I think that that's sort of where my desire to travel started. I don't know per se why I always had the desire to travel by myself, but that was also a big thing, I think. It was not only seeing things, it was also seeing things by myself on my own terms.
And so can you tell us, how did you plan your first trip? How did you choose the country? What did you think you're gonna do? Would you just travel, or would you work and travel? How did it look?
Yeah, that's a funny one because so the intention was to travel 4 months after I didn't got my permanent job. So the intention was to travel for 3 months in Australia and then 1 month of Bali, because Bali is just really close to my heart. And I started traveling Australia, and I chose Australia because I wanted to travel by myself. And I was very intrigued by either Australia or mid-South America, but because I don't speak Spanish, I think it just felt a bit safer to go to a country where I do speak the language, especially when you're traveling by yourself, I think. So I chose I chose Australia, and then I intended the East Coast. Did a very the trip that every backpacker who comes to Australia to see the East Coast would do. So I started in Melbourne, and I made my way all up to Port Douglas. From Port Douglas, I flew to the Northern Territory until Alice Springs. Flew to Bali for that month. So I did 3 months, 1 month of Bali, and then I came back home. Started.
So after how long then you came back home after your original trip? How long has passed?
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working. Okay.
Yeah. So that's working. 4 months. So I started in May and I came back in September.
And how did it feel?
I was actually looking at my Instagram the other day, and I saw this like recent post that I made from after my trip, and it quoted chasing highlights since May. And that's exactly how I felt. Like I was chasing good feelings. It was crazy because I feel that, especially during my trip, you go from place to place, like city to city. You meet people for like 2 days, and then you sort of decide to, to go further in your journey. And every single time, every single time it's quite like exciting. You get nervous because it was so good in that last spot. Like, will it be as good as it was? Like, will the people be as good? And it was always that good, if not better. Like, I met so many amazing people. So yeah, chasing
So now
highlights.
You have friends all over the world.
All over the world.
Let me ask you, how do you feel that those new friendships or acquaintances or just like brief encounters with new people all over the places that you've been to have affected how you think or changed your mindset? Because coming from one country and then meeting people from different countries, can affect us in various ways.
100%, so much. So much. Like, you meet so many people from different nationalities. And also, I'm from Europe, and I think I'm very like, I come from the Netherlands. I come from a very like Western country, where I don't know, like even problems or like things, how we think or think about life or things that are really common for us are not that common for other people. And I don't know, just a way, like even how people eat, like I could always have such a laugh with just being in a hostel and just looking around myself and just looking at what everybody was cooking and how they interact, and so many life lessons, it's crazy. Also, when I got back home, like I left the Montie that left in May is absolutely by far not the Montie that came back in September. And now we're even like way greater. So like you can only imagine that
Monty is growing and changing.
Monty is growing and changing. Absolutely.
It's so fascinating, guys, that 4 months of travel can change you so much. It's literally before and after, compared to if you stay for 4 months in your city and you don't explore, like you don't even go to neighboring towns. Nothing really changes. Yes, we do take courses and some education and we have experiences, but still, when it's within the same societal groups who share the same mindset, it's really hard to step out and see it from outside and actually grow like Monty did.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that it's not that common, because I also feel that, especially even like within my own family, like they all know me and they all obviously want what's best for me, but I think that they don't even understand why I did certain things, or why, well, obviously I came back after 4 months and that wasn't enough. And I was just like, nope.
And your mom is probably going bananas.
My mom,
what is Monty doing?
My mom is going bananas. I think she gave me a pass for the first time that I said I was going back. But I think the second time was a little bit like, okay then, okay. But yeah, she said it to me last week. She said, I can just see in your eyes how happy you are, and that makes me very happy, and that makes me very proud. So I think traveling put things in context as well, in like a certain way. Well, I think how you introduced this interview too is just, people are expected to do all these things, and especially come from beautiful country. Don't get me wrong, but so much social pressure, so much pressure of society. We are all expected to sit in a train at 7:30 a.m., go to our job, clock in 8:30. We keep on working until 4:35 ish.
And it's the best case scenario.
and that's exactly, and that's the best case scenario, and even when what I said, I was really happy at McDonald's, absolutely had such a great time, learned so much, but I always felt very unhappy when I was sitting in the train and I just could literally look around me and just be like, I think I'm looking around me and 80% of the people that I see is honestly miserable, is not happy with the life they're living, the way they're living right now. And now I look around me and I see 95% of the people that are so happy with the way they're living. And don't get me wrong, I have a bachelor degree. I have a bunch of minors. And yet I am serving coffees in a coffee spot right now, but I've never been this happy.
So what is it that makes you happy in a foreign country? You said like you have bachelors, but you're serving coffees right now, and like 90% of people that surround you are very happy. So what is the secret sauce here? Is it because you're working in a different country, or people would wonder why you're so happy? Let's say like you were back in your country and you were doing the same thing. You would have a different feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like objectively it looks the same, but it would have a different feeling. So can you figure out what? I know it's a tricky question. It's a tricky question for me. I thought maybe you have an answer.
I think we're very blessed to have the opportunity to live in a country like Australia.
Yes.
That for sure. Absolutely, absolutely. Because that's probably not going to sound as good in English as it would sound in Dutch, but I always said like, it sometimes look as if I'm working on a solar panel. and I just soak in sun, and that gives me energy. That charges up my battery. And I feel that right here, the sun is shining so much. Like you can just feel it. You can feel people being excited to wake up. It's what I absolutely loved in Australia was just looking outside at 6 a.m. and people were already like on the go. People were getting coffees. People were meeting up.
Locals, right?
Locals. But also just like travelers trying to, you know, learn and just sort of like adapt and really soak in that lifestyle. And yeah, I think for me, the way of living in Australia, being outside, being so invested in sports, being so invested in just really enjoy the simple things in life, just your surroundings and, being able to just go outside, walk barefoot in the supermarkets. That just makes me happy. That just really makes me happy. So I think for me, the secret sauce is probably just living in such a beautiful country with a lot of sunshine and being able to really enjoy the beautiful things in life. And I feel that the mentality here in Australia is so much work to live, not live to work.
That's what I also heard. And I'm brand new here, so I don't know. But based on what I heard from people who live here, grew up here in Australia, that's very true. They love their life,
Yeah.
not just work.
Yeah. And you can see that in small things, right? You can see it in how early people wake up. You can see it in surfing. But you can also even see it in like, I'm such a coffee fan. Like the fact that coffee is so, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but coffee is so included in their lifestyle. Like it's such a like moment. They all gather. They are just going out, grabbing a little cup of coffee, and you can just go out by yourself and meet everybody and just have a little talk and it's just a social moment where people,
I did not know that.
they just live for it. And it's
I live for coffee,
so good. Yeah, me too. But it's just amazing to see. And it's so amazing to observe that. Whereas in the Netherlands, I feel that we are always rushed. Like we're always like running, cycling. We're like on the go.
Do you think it's a big city? Let's say if we would go to Sydney or Melbourne, we would experience the same thing, like rush and on the go. And
I think there's definitely
with
a
better
difference.
weather.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's definitely a difference between being in like an isolated town such as Esperance or being in a big city. Absolutely. But yet still, I think that there is still a very big difference between a big city and Australia.
Okay.
In comparison to like, for example, a city as Amsterdam where I worked.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. So you travel to different countries. You have been in Australia for a while. What jobs have you tried? And do you feel that the jobs that you have tried or any other trade helped you develop different skills or help you also understand how you want your professional future to look like?
You mean my jobs in Australia then?
Yeah, because you said you graduated, you worked in your home country, and then you left and you were traveling. So has your desire to pursue the same industry changed, or is it's still the same? Like, how did the travel and new working experiences shape your future professional career?
Good question. I think I studied hospitality management, and that is such a broad like concept. So it's mainly general hospitality management. So you can see it as, for example, accountant management or financial management, management in leadership. Very, very broad. They use examples within hospitality for my bachelor. Then I chose food service within my last 2 years, which is sort of like a direction where hospitality management is going. And that is very easy saying the journey from a product from like source to consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So the marketing, the supply chain, the farmer, those kind of things. I think that was, I absolutely love that. I love the concept development behind it. That's also why I chose my job at McDonald's, like that, food development. Then I started traveling, and I started traveling on a working holiday visa. So that gives you the right to work while traveling. The only thing is that it's always sort of like restricted. It's definitely not restricted, but it's easiest to find a job within hospitality. So just in a restaurant or a cafe or whatsoever.
And what is the name of the visa in case anyone will decide to apply and travel?
Yeah, it's
travel.
Working holiday visa, and then the subclass is 417, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
417. Yeah.
Is there an age limit?
Yes. So I think most countries, for most countries, I think you need to be between 18 and 30.
Okay.
So you can only apply. No, definitely not too bad. So if you're still thinking quarter life crisis, then you can still apply.
Yes.
And some people, they can even apply until 35. Some countries. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, started working in a restaurant. The first time that I went to Australia, I just was on a tourist visa. So that was only 3 months, and then you're not allowed to work. So when I came back last year, I immediately went to the Gold Coast, actually, or at least almost immediately. That's where I ended. And I worked there as an assistant manager at a cafe on the Gold Coast called Tart. Really, really nice. Learned a lot about leadership, but definitely also learned that I don't want to be in hospitality anymore.
You say travel will do that to you.
So, and that, yeah, I think,
or just work experience.
Yeah. And
yeah, but it would be bad if you like get hired, sign a contract, and then like in Netherlands, and then you would realize it's not what you want.
Absolutely.
But it's like, well, but I'm already here. Like most of us feel, I'm already making money. Well, maybe I'll just stick to it, and then you stick to it for longer than you desire.
Absolutely. And I think that's also what so many people do, is just they roll into something and then they just stick out of comfort, maybe?
Out of comfort, out of fear. What else I can do? What else is there? What else do I like? And in Montie's experience, we can see that she, by traveling, she's able to hold those like temporary jobs and actually see what she likes or what she doesn't like, and pick a career.
Yeah. So
what do you want now? Do you know? Is it still like forming? Do you have clear idea?
Yeah.
Or not yet?
Well,
is it a secret?
No, it's definitely, I think I'm on my way to find out. And I think that my desire to do something with food nutrition has only grown, actually. So, I might have let it sound very negatively, because hospitality management is obviously so big. I just don't want to be in the front anymore. Mm-hmm. I just want to rather be on the back end of hospitality. So, for example, concept development, food development, or even a buyer side of big supermarket chains, or a HelloFresh, like a recipe designer. Those in that corner, I sort of like want to find it, because my desire to nutrition actually only grown in the past 2 years while being here in Australia, because I feel that lifestyle health is such a big thing here as well. So it just only inspired me in some sort of way. So eventually that I want to go that direction. And yeah, I think I am staying in Esperance for a while. So it just gives me also the time and headspace, the quietness to maybe even start studying something else, to even like force me in that direction even more.
You mentioned you study nutrition right now?
Yeah, correct. Okay. So I'm studying holistic nutrition.
Okay.
At the moment, very focused on vitamins, minerals, molecules. So what they are doing to your body. It's tough, but it's also a very good, this particular certificate I just want to get because it forms a very good fundament to have a deep dive. And I actually want to do a deep dive within nutrition, but then more focused on women.
So her niche is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I want to say due to travel.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly. Absolutely.
Of course, not only because it's she's traveling, but traveling and living abroad and experiencing new things definitely help us also create new neuron connections and think outside of the box and see other opportunities, see other interests compared to when you are in your own city, your own town, and you don't ever leave. You're thinking today the way you thought yesterday, the day before yesterday, and it's really hard to step out of that, how you call it, the thing.
Yeah, the spiral?
Yeah, the spiral. Yeah, I just imagine a hamster running like in circles, and it's really hard to get away and get a clear perspective on who you are, what you want, what your true interests are. And I believe travel opens up our mind to the point where it's so easy to explore yourself because you see yourself in so many different situations, whether it's work, whether it's just meeting new people or seeing new places. Everything is stimulating you. Everything is new, and your brain is hyperactive all the time. So that's the beauty of traveling.
Absolutely.
Montie, last question.
Yes.
Do you have any regrets about dropping everything and just going?
No. Absolutely not. Somebody said to me once, and I know this is something that a lot of people like just say, but honestly, if I can give you some advice, just like step back and really think about this. Somebody said to me, you only have one life to live.
I get goosebumps. Yeah. And it's short.
And it's short. And what do you want to like, what is going to be your story when you're done? Like, what do you want? And I was really like, obviously, like everybody always says it, but if you really think about it, like you do only have one life. You do only have one life. And what story is it that you want to tell eventually? And I think that me stepping away from the rushed lifestyle and just feeling so like, no, it's like so almost trapped into this like pressure, like high society pressure. If I look around my friends, I'm so proud of every single one of them for buying a house before turning 30, thinking about kids, getting married all before 30. And I'm like, I'm so proud and I'm loving it for you. But that's not the story that I want to tell later on. So do I have regrets? Absolutely nothing, because I also know that there's always a plane back home and I can always start the life that everybody is expecting me to live. For now, that's not me. And what I said, I'm chasing highlights since I started traveling. Yeah. So no regrets at all.
And any advice maybe to people who want to embark on this journey. Maybe you made some mistakes, or maybe you have tips how to make it easier. Pick a country, know the destination, something that you think would have helped you when you started your journey. Be fearless. I don't know, something.
Oh, honestly, just be open for everything. And also just, it sounds super cheesy, but just really rely on the fact that everything happens for a reason, and that I missed my bus and I was honestly getting crazy. Like, I was just like, oh, and I missed my bus and now I can't get this and this and this and this. End of the story. I ended up with this amazing new girlfriend that I met. She also missed a bus. We had the best day ever.
Where was it?
In Brisbane.
In Brisbane. Okay.
Yeah. And it was just such a magical night. And that was exactly where I told her, like, yes, I missed my bus. And yes, I was stressed out because I missed everything else. And there weren't any hostels anymore, but she invited me over at her place. And it was just absolutely amazing. And I was just like, see, this all happens for a reason. Every single thing, negative thing that happened to me,
perceived negative,
was like ended up in being such a beautiful lesson, gave me an even better opportunity than I was actually planning to. So just be open for everything, and definitely choose whatever, you feel comfortable in. I think for me, that was the language. So me not choosing South Mid America had definitely to do with, just the language barrier. And thank the Lord that I did, because here I am,
Here
ready
you
to
are.
stay, and with a bit of luck getting my permanent residency anywhere within 3 years. So.
Last question. I promise it's going to be last.
I love it.
For solo women travelers, is it safe? Because a lot of women are afraid to travel solo. I know I was a little bit scared. Can you share, your opinion on it? Like, choose the right country. I don't know, have to be safe. Like, what is, how did you feel throughout this travel? Have you ever felt unsafe?
I think I can only answer that question, obviously, for my travels, based on my travels within Asia and Australia. And I have never, ever felt unsafe in one moment. And I think it's just, I think I'm probably like very fearless in general, as in like, I don't really get scared a lot, but I think for me, the language was like a big one. Just making sure that that people can actually, that people know where you are. You're in a hostel, or at least you're probably in hostels because you're still traveling on a budget. Just let people know where you are. But I'm very much, I love to be surrounded by people, but I also really like my alone time. So I went out a lot by myself, but I never, especially not in Australia, especially not in Asia. I don't know how it is in other countries, but it's super, super safe for women. Especially women, because I can imagine that especially women might be a bit afraid for that, but I've never had a moment while traveling that I wasn't feeling comfortable. Or
what can I say, ladies? Australia is waiting for you. It's absolutely a sign. It's beautiful. You would not regret it.
No, absolutely not.
Monty, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your story. It's a beautiful story, and you continue writing it. And I'm wishing you so many more beautiful chapters and unexpected chapters that you would not even think you would have in your life, but life would throw you beautiful, beautiful, unexpected moments, because that's how life is. We plan, but then life has different plans.
100%.
We never know.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your beautiful questions as well. And I really love talking about it because, yeah, it's just.
You're passionate about it.
Yeah, I very am. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section. We'll be really happy to reply, especially if you would like to embark on a travel journey like Monty did or like I did, and would like some tips. We would be very happy to share them with you. And of course, subscribe and like this video. See you later.
Bye.